Welcome to Daily Records. I'm Tommy Burton, and today's album may well be my very favorite Aerosmith album. This is 1976's Rocks. This was released on May 3rd, 1976, and I really think it is probably their most well put together, best executed album. It's certainly one of the better hard rock albums, and this is just a pure Aerosmith record, top to bottom. If you like that early Aerosmith sound, I think you can't do much better than Rocks. Now, I know that Rolling Stone listed it in their list of 500 greatest albums of all time, and it definitely carries the influence of the heavy metal and hard rock. But it also has influenced a lot of bands like Guns N' Roses. Even Nirvana, you can hear elements of Aerosmith Rocks in their music. Back in the Saddle, Lead Off Track, Last Child, Sick as a Dog, Nobody's Fault. Just the songs really just really hit hard. So when they got to do this album, they had done about 3 records. They had done Aerosmith, the self-titled, Get Your Wings, and then Toys in the Attic. And Toys in the Attic was their sort of big breakthrough record. Walk This Way was a big hit. Sweet Emotion is on Toys in the Attic. But so by this point, they were really building a very loyal and dedicated fan base because they were tearing up these stadiums and arenas across the country with this great live show. But they also, along with that, they started living the lifestyle that goes along with it, and particularly the drug culture. But it all kind of shows up a little bit here. But their sort of just overall ferociousness was not quelled by that. As a matter of fact, it probably grew even more, and so they hit a little bit harder. But Joe Perry even acknowledged that there was a lot of drugs going on then, but at this point it was still sort of working. It had not taken its toll as it would later. They recorded it at the record plant, using the record plant's mobile truck. They had kind of moved some of that into their rehearsal space. And they basically were just getting together and jamming and rocking out. Jack Douglas produced the album, and I want to sort of quote Jack on this too, that he mentioned that Rocks was the album where Tom Hamilton and Brad Whitford, the guitarist, started to really have more input into the songs. And so I think the fact it wasn't just a Steven Tyler and Joe Perry record, I think that Whitford was there, and of course Hamilton they were really getting involved. But just a heavy record, and it hits really hard. This album usually makes a lot of lists that people, when they talk about great rock albums, this album usually comes up, and again, it's definitely so. Just for some of the influence, I know that Slash said that he probably wouldn't play guitar if it weren't for this album. Kurt Cobain mentioned this. I know people don't find a lot of similarities between Aerosmith and Nirvana, but Kurt Cobain was a great fan of this album. And Nikki Sixx, who has sort of become, in recent years, from Motley Crue, the bass player for Motley Crue, has sort of become the purveyor of all things hard rock. He is a big fan, and of course James Hetfield cites this as an influence. So the album runs really deep for a lot of fans, and particularly fans that play heavy music. Of all the Aerosmith albums, I think that this one probably is the one to have and the one to listen to. It's just an album that you can crank up to the max and rock out to it and feel drained by the end of it. So Aerosmith Rocks, today's daily record. Comment below with your thoughts about it. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate everyone watching. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Check out my other channel, my regular channel. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily record.